Hello and welcome back, everyone. Today we'll be covering the Explodatorium. This stage is by far the most frustrating to have gotten all the footage for. Despite the nature of tricks throughout the remainder of the run, varying degree of difficulty, I'm really positive that this stage takes the cake in that regard, which is mostly a result of the fact that this stage has global cycles. Now, even when I do runs, I don't try and get an absolutely perfect stage or reset. I just want you to know that, like, for your own sake, if you're going to do runs, just compromise, please. I'll actually be showing later on in this room, if you do something that's slightly different, that is not as fast, you'll still manage to catch the same cycle, and you won't lose any time at all, really. Not to mention, as like a general rule of thumb, when you are first learning the game, being able to hit every single trick in an entire stage perfectly is not easy. I guarantee you I could look at any one of the top runners' runs, and I'll find plenty of mistakes in various stages, but Exploratorium is one that is universally agreed upon to be a god-awful stage, and if we somehow manage to get like a perfect stage, we'll probably mess up somewhere else. Now, although I may use some scattered clips here and there to demonstrate rooms properly, I would like to pay attention to the amount of money that I have right now. After making this purchase, I'll have considerably less money in my pocket, but the point of the alchemy coin is that it basically pays for itself. So you may end up getting varying amounts of money from enemies when you use it, and if you find that you don't have enough, then toward the end of the stage you're going to have to break a checkpoint. Reminder that food is entirely free to grab. Now this room will also be given an alternate way of getting through it. This is the more difficult way of doing so. Also, if you are using different weapons, like if you're not using the alchemy coin and instead you're grabbing the chaos orbs or the flare wand, you may not want to do it at all because then you won't really have any ammo to use on the alchemister mini-boss. You know, come to think of it, I actually made a guide for the alchemister. In fact, I made guides for the alchemister and Plague Knight specifically a very long time ago. Long before I decided to make whole stage guides, I decided to make short little guides that cover specific tricks or specific enemies. Alchemister will get plenty of attention this time, as there hasn't really been any guides or videos that cover the other ways that you can kill him. Plague Knight, on the other hand, has about 7 different patterns that you could possibly throw at you. As a result, I'll be mostly covering how to fight Plague Knight rather than the specific ways you fight each of his variations. Top runners like applesauc have actually gone and basically flowcharted the varying sets of jumps he can give you, and then as a result, the most optimal ways you would handle each of these approaches from Plague Knight to you. Plague Knight could literally get his own 10-minute video, but I'm not trying to do that. It took me long enough to find footage that I was happy with for the entirety of the stage. Not to mention that after the level, we'll be going over some extra little bits of movement tech in the armor outpost for the shopping we'll be doing. And take a look at that, I have 5,500 gold, which is the minimum you need when you're following this route to be able to purchase those things at the armor outpost. Now, this is a coin-based kill, and one of the strange things about coin and the way it interacts with Plague is that it actually deals full-hearted damage to him, just like normal enemies, but not like any of the other bosses. Coin is not a very spammable relic, however, so we'll have to keep in mind as well where exactly we're throwing it, when and why. Now, since I mentioned global cycles are going to be a thing in this stage, that's basically going to be the first thing I cover, and first I'm going to show 2 side-by-side examples of different ways the stage was played through, but they still lined up. On the right, you're going to see the same footage that played the first time around, however, on the left you're going to see a little accident that happened that I decided to account for and keep rolling with. So you're going to start by jumping and knuckling through these first 2 blocks, do a full jump and then knuckle again before jumping and then knuckling again. Now on the left side I actually went a little bit faster than I did on the right side, but the problem with this is that enemies like rats are spawned based on the camera's position. These platforms that move up and down, however, they spawn as soon as I enter the room. That offset the spawn of these rats with these platforms, so I actually had to wait a little bit on the left side. You can see that I'm falling behind the playthrough on the right side. But like I said, some of the elements in this stage are global cycles, specifically the spiked pot lids that are coming up in the next room after this one. So as you're entering the pot lid room, if you know you got there on time, cool, then you can do this setup on the right where you bait the chompy. But if you feel like you're behind, then you might have to do a shorter jump just to avoid getting hit by it. Then you'll have to pogo off of it to avoid taking damage. As a result of getting there early, the right playthrough had to wait anyway, so now both playthroughs are basically in sync. Another quick note in this room is that after you get past this spiked lid, you'll just have to briefly let go of right before you continue walking under the pot lid. So again, if you make a mistake in the first half of the stage, it may not be the end of the world. Just find another pot cycle, or maybe you're still going to be able to catch the first one. So let's just look at all of that again real quick. Again, jump, knuckle, knuckle, jump, knuckle, jump, knuckle, 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 jump, knuckle, knuckle. But then you see that on the left side I was getting a little too ahead of it, so I actually had to wait a slight bit at the rat. And at first, as you fall behind, you may think, oh man, now I'm going to be losing time. But again, you don't have to give up, you don't have to lose your cool, just keep focused, and you'll probably actually still be able to catch the same cycle. I had to make the adjustment knowing that the potlets are going to go off a little bit earlier than I'm used to when I'm in the room. But yeah, everything worked out just fine. I was able to continue doing a fairly standard run of the stage. Now, as this is the coin route, I'd like to just point out a couple quick things for coin users. The coin itself costs 3,000 gold, but again, this is really a non-issue as it does end up paying for itself in its functionality. Do make sure that as you fire it, you're lagging slightly behind it, otherwise the money that comes out of enemies is more than likely going to go over your head and you're not going to be able to pick it up. You don't want to, however, fall too far behind, just so that you can get the money for sure, because you're still on a pot cycle and you want to make sure that you can beat the pot cycle at the end of this room. You'll see that in this footage I actually just barely get onto it as the lid's shaking and popping up. Now for this room there are two ways to get through, however I'm going to show off the way that uses dust knuckles first, and this is the way that I literally just learned as I was making this video, applesauc showing me how. The moment the beaker falls behind you and explodes, you'll jump and use your relic at the same time. Using dust knuckles 4 times will cause you to flip. You'll actually start breaking the second set of blocks. Punch twice after the flip, then jump and try to punch the top set of these bricks. Where you punch is actually important, otherwise you won't move forward with all of your knuckles like this. So once more at full speed, jump, pogo, and then walk, don't jump at all, then jump, knuckle, 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 jump, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the easier way through this room is thankfully much easier, so you should probably start out by doing this if you're not comfortable. Walk under the beaker, then light jump, and you'll be doing nothing but light jumps between all these slimes. Sometimes they will get cheeky and jump at you. Again, slime movement is completely random, but it's very easy to go through the room like this instead. Now as we get to the Alchemeister and we do the fight, for coin users you're not actually going to use the coin, so this is closer to the low percent way of doing the fight. With Knuckles equipped, reflect the first potion that comes at you, then jump and knuckle twice through the Alchemeister. Turn around and start shoveling the Alchemeister. However, this form of shoveling is not quite the same as shovel canceling against other enemies or even objects in the game. You'll have to practice this to make sure that you keep hitting the Alchemeister, as you're so high up off the ground from being level with him that you'll probably end up whiffing his head a bunch of times your first time through. Make sure you're tapping forward occasionally so you don't get pushed too far back every time you hit him. And if you happen to get any green potions that you can reflect, keep juggling them until you can hit him with them. They deal a ton of damage, and if you happen to get fortunate enough to reflect enough of them, you'll actually kill him before he transforms. It's incredibly difficult to do so without the use of another weapon. So don't rely on it, just get used to shoveling the Alchemeister steadily, and you should be able to have only 3 hits or so remaining by the time he transforms. He'll always spawn 2 last beakers right before he transforms. Try and delay when you reflect the beaker so that it'll actually land after his invincibility wears off. Once his invincibility wears off, he's fully transformed, he's vulnerable again. The exploding beaker should actually deal damage to him, and you should only have to hit him once or twice more, and then he'll be dead. So Alchemeister again at full speed, have Knuckles ready. Reflect a green potion, knuckle through him, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He'll transform. 1, 2, 3. But yes, you may be an orb runner, so what would you do then? Well, you'll be using the relic glitch. At about the 5th tile here on the floor, you'll be pressing relic slightly before jump, and you'll be firing 2 orbs at almost the same time as a result. It's important to fire the orbs from that spot, as it causes these orbs to hit twice instead of only once each. The rest of the kill requires that you do the same rhythmic shovel canceling, and on the second set of 8 you'll actually kill him, so you can just leave before he transforms. Lastly, Flare 1 users can also kill him before he transforms, but it is much more difficult. Again, use the relic glitch where you press relic slightly before jumping, you'll fire 2 immediately. It doesn't matter where you do them because they'll dissipate as soon as they hit him. Jump and reflect the potion early so that you can fire 2 more Flare Wand shots before switching over to Knuckles and then quickly doing 2 Knuckles to get through him. Now you'll barely have the time to get these 17 hits in required to kill him. Just make sure you do that last swing early so that you get him before he transforms. Now, fire traps are another global cycle element to this stage, but there is a way to make it through this room quickly and on cycle, essentially. Once these flames have gone through 2 full sets of their animation, jump and then go right, and you should just barely be chasing the flames as they go down. You'll have to keep moving very quickly and be jumping from the absolute lips and edges of everything. If done correctly, then on this next platform, again, you're basically going to look like you're walking off the platform. Do as delayed a jump as possible, and you should be able to land before these flames hit you. They'll be shrinking away, so you'll be landing on the platform at the last possible moment. It's important that you land here at this moment, because if you don't move quickly enough, by the time you get over the next trap, it'll actually hit you. The flames are ready and waiting to come up. So again, as soon as you get over here and you know you can make it to the top of the ladder, jump so that the flames don't hit you. Be holding up just in case that you don't fall to your death. Just make sure you, at the very least, get to the top of the ladder. Now again, doing this precise set of jumps is only really necessary if you know that you'll be able to catch this earlier cycle. If you walk into the room and the flames are down, you might as well just go while they're down. Now you can see I'm waiting here just a little bit because I don't want to improperly spawn in the fairy enemy. And we call these chompies, and I'm pretty sure it's obvious why. But as you approach, you want to make sure that you aggro it correctly every time. Wait for the fire pillar, then jump low so you don't aggro the chompy before your damage boost. You want to aggro it as you're damage boosting. You should only be letting the fairy get off 1 chomp in order to bait it properly, then jump away immediately. As you land on the 3rd pillar, wait for it to chomp again, and as soon as it starts chomping, jump upwards so that its next chomp will be guided vertically. From here, delay your pogo and you should be able to hold left and up. You'll reach the ladder that's off screen and cause the screen transition. Again, here comes the ladder skip. Make sure you bait your chomp properly. Damage boost, jump, jump, and then pogo. Now the next trick we call Ice Climbers, and that's being able to pogo off of this slime enemy, so you must bait him properly as well. Make sure you do a light jump so that you don't fall into the pit as you jump over this first gap. And then in order to bait the Simulacrum, you must make sure that you're jumping, otherwise he's going to try and take a swing at you. So just before he would land, make sure that you're jumping again, and he'll try and jump to chase after you. As you approach the end of the screen, make sure that you're not pogoing too early, otherwise you're going to kill him before you have a chance to use him effectively. Use your pogo right before you hit the screen transition. You should pogo off of him into the screen transition. You'll hear the sound during the screen transition, and then you'll be able to just barely reach this sand block at the top of the next room and knuckle through it. So again, at full speed, do a light hop, jump, jump, and then jump, delayed pogo. You should be able to just knuckle the sand block. Now, if you screw up Ice Climbers for whatever reason, then here's a backup that you can use to still get to the top of the screen pretty quickly. As these enemies react to your jumps, time your jump so that he'll jump, but not destroy the sand block. You'll want him to jump and land basically as soon as possible without clipping the ledge. You can jump straight up and then pogo off of him and knuckle the sand block, just like you would if you had gotten the trick right the first time. One last thing before we end the stage off, because there's a potlet at the end, it means that you will have to change up your strat based on whether it's firing as you approach or after you approach. Since we quote-unquote missed our ride, we'll have to jump on the pot lid, turn around, jump, swing, and damage boost off the first bomb that the minion throws at us, and then just continue moving to the right. However, depending on how the last half of the stage ended up going for you, you may be able to catch this pot lid. So jump on it, and then when it reaches the top, you'll actually be pogoing off the plague minion, which pushes it back really far. Wait to land, and then knuckle through it twice, which should kill it, and you can even pick up a little extra money in case you're short. As I said, I'm going to be teaching you how to fight Plague Knight rather than the specific strat. Coin users fire a coin at the start of the fight and jump as soon as possible. Make your way over to the corner, and your first swing is actually going to be on the ground. This will reflect the coin back at him, which doesn't deal more damage, but it does mean it will despawn sooner so that you can throw another one out quicker. As you jump up to follow him, make sure that you're reflecting the bomb back at his face. This removes it from the fight so that it doesn't spawn little chaser clouds, and it also deals more damage to him. Fire a coin on the way down, and then try to swing at him, see if he actually stays in place. This is where the fight starts to change up because his number of jumps is random from this point out. Get a couple more juggles from him if he has decided to stop behind you. In other cases, he may end up moving toward the middle of the room, but once he's reached 4 full hearts, he'll actually summon a room full of vats. Continue making sure that you're reflecting any bombs he throws at you, and Plague will always prioritize getting behind you to a corner if possible, so he'll jump toward the closest corner essentially. Remember, coins do a full heart of damage to Plague. A couple more shovel swings will finish this fight off, And again, I'll be showing some other ways to cover the fight, but I will be mostly referencing a video that applesauc made and that I made regarding a couple more different patterns he'll give you. Again, this is one of the potential fights that you'll see as Coin. Priority is on reflecting potions back at Plague Knight, making sure that you're in a position to deal damage to him, and when he has 4 health, he'll summon the Vats, so again, line yourself up to be killing him as quickly as possible and getting him towards a corner. So how about orb users? Now at the start of the fight, you'll want to throw 2 orbs out with the relic glitch once again, but you'll actually want to try and get your first attack off in the air as Plague is coming down. This just means that you're hitting him a little bit sooner, and again, you'll be following him up in a similar fashion, but you'll be getting an extra hit in before you decide to jump up and chase after him, try to reflect the potion once again, deal some more damage to him on the way down, and once more you'll be reacting to what he does before deciding what your next course of action will be. In this case, strangely enough, he gave me a very similar pattern to the one I just got with Coin, so he'll be taking a lot more damage after the second jump. So you'll want to try and reflect potions if you can, but if you don't, it's not a huge deal. Once he reaches that 4 HP threshold, he'll be summoning a room full of Vats. You may end up taking damage, but if that's the case, you shouldn't worry. The iframes do mean that you'll have a more solid opportunity to deal damage to him before he gets away again. He jumped into the corner because I baited him properly, and then you'll just finish the fight off from here. A couple more swings and he should die. Now lastly, I'll be showing off the Flare Wand, and I'll be kind of pairing this up with the Neitherless route because of the way it starts. You won't be able to fire off any Flare Wand shots and hit him in such a way to supplement your first assault. So you're doing something of a low % approach. Again, just trying to reflect potions at him, dealing damage with jump cancels. Now, I was unable to do enough damage to force him to do Vats in the middle of the room, which would have been nice and ideal, but instead I just decided to follow up with him moving to the left side, and this is when I would actually be able to use my Flare Wand to help me out here. I fired a couple of shots off, which forced him to do Vats, jump, make sure I'm reflecting the potion at him, and then I try and finish the fight off as best as I can, firing off Flare Wand shots that I know will hit him, and even though I took some damage here, I didn't let it frazzle me. I managed to keep my composure and then continue chasing after him with pogos, knowing that he would do a big jump afterwards, following him into the corner and then finishing the fight with a couple more Flare Wand shots. Again, the key to dealing with Plague Knight is just understanding how you can attack him, making sure that you reflect potions when you have the opportunity to, and utilizing the weapon that you've chosen to the fullest of its capabilities. Now, something we didn't have to do at all throughout the stage because we were pretty pressed for magic is Knuckling the Coin, which is something that you can actually do. So you're going to see a bunch of strats that involve doing just that coming up. During campfire scenes, make sure you're mashing jump and fire relic, then use knuckles to punch your way out. It's a little bit faster, just a couple frames faster. And now we're going to be heading over to the armor outpost to make some purchases, again using Coin to help us out. Fire, punch, pogo, and that'll grab you the ladder really quickly, and fire once more and knuckle over to the first vendor to pick up Charge Slash. You won't have enough to go and do the same thing to get over to the armor vendor, so just pick up your Conjurer's Coat, which should refill all of your magic, then as you drop down, fire off another coin and knuckle it to get out. Stuff like that is why the coin is more useful than the Flare Wand or the Chaos Orbs. Fighting as Shovel Knight, you don't really need a weapon, and that's why Neitherless pulled ahead for a while. But using the coin for movement, now that's going to see a lot of use, and we'll make sure we cover lots more of that as we get to the Iron Whale. Thanks for watching. See you next time.